we don't know is when it's going to hit. So today we have an impressive pump to the upside. Let's see from what we had on DeltaStrike since yesterday and what has happened up until this moment and what we can expect for the next few hours with that 68,000, which is already red hot in the order book. First, I'd like to review a bit what has happened because we've been at this since February, curiously since February 5th, which is when Claude's Opus 4.6 came out. For all of you who are into artificial intelligence, you know what I'm referring to. Anyway, we've had all this movement, and yesterday we had a volume of 23,000 Bitcoins, and today we've had a volume of about 19,000. By today, I mean roughly 24 hours. So the thing is, notice that with 23,000 Bitcoins of volume in 24 hours, you can see it up here, the volumes for those of you who are new. We've had a move here. TradingView shows us 0.92%. But that's because it's the traditional market, and what they do is look at open and close. But if instead of looking at open and close, we look from the low to the high, we had a move of 3%, meaning with 23,000 to 3%, and with 19,000, we've had a move of 6%. So that means they've pulled liquidity from the order book. It's been cheaper for them to move the price upward. So be careful because this entire move has been premeditated from the order book because they've pulled liquidity to make it cheaper to push it up. All right, that said, notice that now we're in a resistance zone here. What I don't know is if it's going to line up with the. Let's see if it lines up with the volume profile. It's still a little bit away from the volume profile. Here it shows us 71. If we take all the lines from the high to the low, but I think around this zone we already have visually like a resistance at 68. So I think many traders here will see resistance. Plus on the 4-hour, we're almost overbought. On the hourly, we're overbought. On the daily, not yet. We're not even at neutral. After the strong drop we've had, if we go to the order book, or what they're placing now in the order book, the whales on Binance Futures, what we see is that right now, all the liquidity is below. All the liquidity is below. So let's see what they've done, where they've put the money, where the Binance whales have their money right now, understanding that they can pull it out, too, but where they've placed it now, and what we can expect for the next few hours. We already know that crypto can go against everything, the prices. But right now, given how the liquidity is, for me, look, first of all, let's clean up the lines we had from yesterday. Yesterday, we had two small resistances here, of $14 and $17 million. Those were price levels that had $17 million in sells and $14 million in sells, which doesn't mean they were executed. In fact, we could check it here in the history. We'll look at it later. As you already know, this website is DeltaStrike, and you have it below in the video description if you want to check it out. So today we have $20 million at that 68,100 right now. So first of all, I'm clearing the lines to start with today's and the order book history. Look at the strong movements. Since we're on the hourly now, I should switch it to minutes, but I'm not going to waste time on that. But notice how they drove the price down, and the last candle, the last strong position that pushed the price up was this one with 514 Bitcoins. This was the last one that pressured the price down, and now let's see which one could stop the drop in case we get a drop now. All right, so we remove that, and let's mark today's resistance, which is this one. 68,100. Do we have the 115,000 and do I need to mark it? Yes, it's at 69%, yes. I think it's going to be now. No, I don't think the attempt at 115,000 is going to happen now. I think we still need to go down a bit more. And where to the downside? We'll look at that now. So notice that at the resistance levels, or on the short side, there's no liquidity. Notice that all the prices in the top 10, these are the 10 prices that have the least liquidity in the entire order book. Right now, 50,000 price levels. Out of those 50,000 price levels, we take 20, 10 sells, and 10 buys. The ones with the most liquidity. Look, there's nothing. So the price is probably going to stall now. Now we'll see exactly what can happen, and the risks. But that's the ceiling right now. And now let's look at if, assuming it's going to happen now, assuming the institutions are going to follow the liquidity in the order book and not go against it. Meaning they have a target and don't mind spending more money because they're going for liquidations, which by the way is another topic. They've already taken the liquidations in 48 hours. If we go to 12 hours, they've taken those too. So we can see that the targets now point to a correction. It could reach 70, but around here, we already have a correction zone. So now where? In what zones? Look, as we were saying yesterday, around 60,000, 60,000, 68,000, 58,000 would be a zone. That's what I'm marking right now. That's where the strong buy zone is. That's where the strong buy zone is 60 or 58. Worst case, $51,000. We have it down there at a 24% drop. If not, it's a drop. And where we have the key level right now for me is the 64. Look, 64.44. That's the one that for me is going to be the retest. Look where it is. In this zone right here. So, for me, and that's the potential scenario where they won't liquidate the longs. Now we'll look at the annuals. For me right now, this is the situation. We're talking about a 5% drop to go look for that 64,400 and see what happens. So does that mean it's going to drop right now? No, but it should stall, in my opinion. The odds are high that the institutions won't keep buying. Because one thing we're missing in the DeltaStrike order book is the trades, which is what we see here at the entry, but with analysis of the cost of the final movement, which is basically taking the trades and looking at the delta. This is what we're going to add next to the order book in DeltaStrike. Okay, I think that with that from there we can start with the trading bots. Okay, so next month we're going to have a lot of updates on DeltaStrike. All right, so what's the case with Meteora? Surfista Bolivian asks about Solana. Yeah, that usually happens, the news thing. We're at 87, a 10% rise. It could already be time for partial profit taking. All right, so we have that correction we're talking about to 64,400, around this zone here. And that's the scenario that I'm expecting right now. So I'm already short. I entered a bit earlier than I had planned to, but oh well, I'm in at. As I placed a small entry order, and I already showed it in yesterday's video, but oh well, I'm staying in this short, and we'll see what happens. Right now at minus 40%. Let's see if they keep pushing it up or not, because we can't forget that we still have the CME gap from February 2nd, which is at 81, okay? So at some point we have to go look for it. We'll see if first we need to go for the 60 to 58, or if from here it's going to try to go for this CME gap. Well, if it were to go for that, for me, that's where I'd take partial profits on my spot portfolio. All right, so for me, that's the situation. Right now, there's no excessive capital. But for me, that's the situation. Why? Because all the liquidity is at the 60 to 58 range. And the 64. Okay, 64 for me would be scalping. So the key in the next few hours is going to be, no matter how high it goes, whether it's going to look for 64.4. And how does it react at that 64.4? Is it going to bounce, or is it going to take the liquidity, and then we'll see the drop? For me, that's going to be the situation right now. All right, so that said, if you want, let's look at Solana. Quickly, let's see what we have, which we haven't looked at in days. And Solana could be one of the, although Ethereum is doing quite well right now. Ethereum has improved a lot. Okay, let's see. We had here from a few days ago. We can delete these now, and it has stayed basically in the range we marked a few days ago. And I have this recovery, and there's no. You see, this is where the difference is. Look, on Solana we have the 94, 98. No, actually the 94, the $94. We have it with 24 Solanas, $2 million, while the 68 and 67. Look, 68 and 67. From 70 to 68, there's a significant order cluster. And notice that 68 and 67 have 100 Solanas, $9 million. To go look for this peak here, confirm whether it's a double bottom or we keep heading down. And then we have the order cluster at 70, 67, that whole zone. And further down, catastrophic prices, 63, 42. Okay, so for me, this is basically the game. When it's overbought, take partial profits or enter shorts. And when it's oversold, start entering. For me, that's going to be the game. And the long entry I had, well, I've already exited. I also exited a bit early. But hey, secure profits is what my stop triggered. So that's the situation so far. So best of luck. To everyone with your positions, you know you have all the links below in the video description. We've also added, because you asked for it a while ago, BingX. If you want to use BingX, soon you'll also be able to use it for DeltaStrike. As you know, DeltaStrike, for all of you who are traders in the community, Transcend Money, you'll have an access level depending on the trading volume you do on BingX or MEXC. I hope by next week we'll have it active, if not sooner. So thank you all so much. I wish you the best of luck with your positions, health, love, and fortune, and see you in the next video.